Heartwarming discovery. Billionaire finds Maid's daughter washing dishes at 3 a.m. The inspiring path to change. Jack Thompson, the man who could buy a yacht for every day of the year, pushed through the glass doors of his penthouse at 3 in the morning, still buzzing from the corporate gala that had drained every ounce of energy from him. His sleek apartment glimmered under cold fluorescent lights, but something felt off. It felt empty, almost lonely. The high-rise view of New York City lay like a glimmering illusion outside his window, a sparkly facade masking the restlessness within him. Then, in the corner of the kitchen, he saw her. Maria, the daughter of his housekeeper, was scrubbing dishes at this ungodly hour, her hands raw and red from the constant friction of dish soap and water. The sight hit him like a truck. Just 18, with bright, intelligent eyes, she seemed so out of place in his luxurious world of corporate jargon and sports cars. Yet here she was, fighting for her dreams, one dish at a time. Jack felt a stirring in his gut, a mix of awe and guilt. How could someone so young be forced into such labor? The raw determination etched on her face ignited something deep within him. The reality of his privilege sat heavily on his chest, forming a knot of discomfort in his heart. He remembered his parents working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on, pushing him to succeed, but he had never confronted it quite like this. The economic divide shouted louder than his corporate applause. Could it be that wealth didn't mean success at all? Determined to do something, he approached Maria the next day, probably too excited, his heart racing. "Maria," he began, trying to keep his voice steady, "I want to offer you a scholarship to help you go to college." He watched her eyes flash with surprise, and then a flicker of anger. "What do you think you're doing?" she shot back, the fire in her voice making him step back. "I don't need your charity." Her words hit him harder than any boardroom debacle. Charity? Wasn't that all he ever dealt in? She deserved recognition, not a handout. The confrontation clashed like fireworks, each spark revealing pieces of their lives. Maria fought fiercely for her dreams, and Jack realized too late that kindness without respect could feel diminishing. Days turned into weeks of heated back and forths, where pride and ambition clashed. Each argument pushed Jack deeper into reflection, forcing him to reckon with what true empowerment looked like. He thought of community, respect, and those who pushed through struggles without applause. Their heated encounters turned into unexpected revelations, sewing a fragile bridge of understanding between their 2 worlds. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. With each argument, Jack found himself questioning what it really meant to stand up for a cause greater than himself. He began to reconsider his purpose. Could he step outside his luxurious bubble? Could he use his power to create real change? As he prepared for a community meeting, the weight of his decisions loomed large over him. Would he elevate the voices of those he fought beside, or would he remain stuck in his own dilemma? The air was thick with uncertainty as he faced the reality of his lifestyles and the very real shadows they cast. But the light of hope flickered brighter every day. Could he truly become an ally and not just a bystander? Jack stood in front of the mirror, staring at his own reflection. His slicked-back hair and tailored suit felt like a costume rather than a representation of who he truly was. The mirror seemed to reflect more than just his appearance. It reflected his internal struggle. The voices of board members and sirens from upscale parties faded as the intensity of his connection to Maria echoed louder. He thought of her determination, the fire in her eyes, a reminder of every person he had decided not to see. The community meeting he was about to attend had become an arena, a place where he would expose himself to the very issues he had avoided for so long. He needed to show them he wasn't just another billionaire with a good heart, but a person ready to stand up for the change he spoke about. Arriving at the community center, Jack was met with a wave of warmth mixed with skepticism. People were gathered at long tables, sharing stories, their voices intertwining, creating a mosaic of experience. As he took a seat, he felt their eyes on him, aiming to read his intentions. He had to prove himself worthy of being there. After a brief introduction from the organizer, the floor was open for discussion. Jack raised his hand, his palms sweating. "I want to help," he said, his voice steady. "I know I've lived in a bubble, but I want to change that." A murmur spread through the crowd. Some nodded slowly, while others tightened their arms, unconvinced. "Why us?" asked a middle-aged woman with tired yet hopeful eyes. "What do you actually know about our struggles?" The question hit hard, and Jack took a deep breath. "I don't know the first thing about your lives," he admitted, his voice quiet yet confident. "But I want to learn. I want to support, not from above, but by standing with you. I'm asking for this opportunity." To his surprise, Maria was watching from the side, her eyes narrowed with a mix of curiosity and caution. It fed Jack's determination.
He felt the weight of her gaze as he spoke. "Let's create scholarships, internships, mentorships, real partnerships. I can use my connections if you let me." A young man pressed forward, visibly torn. "Have you ever been in a position where you felt hopeless?" he asked, the intensity radiating from him. Jack hesitated. "No, but—" he began, but the young man interrupted. "Then how do you have the right to change our lives?" The accusation cut deep. Jack was about to recoil, but stopped himself. This wasn't about him. He needed to absorb their words. "I don't have that right. I know that." He paused, weighing his thoughts, then continued. "But I do have the means to assist, if you'll let me. Together, we can build something." The room fell silent. Every eye was locked onto Jack, waiting. In that heavy moment, he felt stripped down, vulnerable and raw. It was then that he realized he had been asking for acceptance, but all he needed to do was fight for trust. Maria stepped forward, crossing her arms. "And what makes you think we want anything from you?" The challenge in her voice was electric, prompting a blend of tension and anticipation in the room. Jack cleared his throat, his heart racing. "What if I said it's not about what you want from me, but what we can create together? I'm tired of watching from the sidelines." The crowd exchanged glances, some whispering to one another, the air thickening with possibility. Could he actually bridge this divide? As the meeting continued, discussions flowed, punctuated by raw emotions and stories taking shape. But deep down, Jack knew this was just the beginning. He stood on the edge of a transformative journey. With every beat of his heart, he wondered, was this enough? Could he truly be the change they all needed? And when would Maria be willing to trust him, to join him in this fight for fairness? As the meeting closed and people filtered out, he caught her eye once more. Maria's expression was unreadable, yet the resolve in her posture suggested she was contemplating something important. Would she eventually see him as an ally willing to stand by her side? The questions hung heavy in the air, leaving Jack grappling with the uncertain road ahead. And in that moment, as he prepared to follow Maria out into the night, he realized this was only the first step. The true test was just beginning. Jack stepped outside, the cool night air wrapping around him like a comforting blanket. The din of the community center faded into the background, but the weight of the meeting lingered in his chest. He watched as people dispersed, some lingering a moment longer, their voices low and shared like secrets. He wondered if he could ever truly understand them, share their struggles. Maria stood by her car, arms crossed, her silhouette framed by the street lamps casting a warm glow. She appeared lost in thought, her brow furrowed. Jack approached her, unsure of how to bridge the gap that had grown wide between them. "Hey," he said softly, and she looked up, her eyes piercing through him. "I know it's just the beginning, but I mean what I said back there. I really want to help." "Words are easy," she replied, her tone steady, but he could hear the caution mixed with the fire he so admired. "Proving you care takes more than promises, Jack. It takes action." "I get that, I do," he insisted, feeling flustered. "What do you need from me?" Maria shifted, her expression softening just a little. "You think you can change everything just like that? You're not just dealing with shelves of scholarships, Jack. You're tackling lives, families. You're asking for trust, and trust is earned, not given freely. You have to dig deep." He looked into her eyes, seeing the flicker of hope caught beneath layers of anger and skepticism. "How do I start?" A faint smile broke through her guarded demeanor. "Listen, hear us, truly hear us. You're good at building connections. Use that to connect on a personal level. You've lived in privilege.
Now you need to understand what it feels like not to have it. His heart raced with the thought. It was so simple. The answers lay in the stories of the people he had just met. Then let's start from there. Lead me. Show me what to do. Maria shook her head, releasing a breath that seemed to hold a mixture of release and resignation. It's not that easy, Jack. I can't be your guide through memories that are painful for my community. Then let me share that burden. Can we start with one story, one family? He pleaded, desperation creeping into his voice. I want to walk alongside you, to feel the heartbeat of what this means. For a long moment, Maria studied him, as if weighing the man standing before her. Finally, she nodded. All right. There's a family I know, a single mother and her daughter. They could really use some support. But Jack, you have to understand. You might not like everything you see. I'm ready. As she directed him to her car, Jack felt a sense of purpose swell within him. Maybe he could truly help. However, as they drove through the neighborhood, the streets became less familiar. The vibrant lights of downtown faded, replaced by flickering bulbs and graffiti murals that told stories of struggle and resilience. Jack braced himself, the reality of his ignorance dawning on him. Here we are, Maria said, stopping outside a modest building adorned with peeling paint. Something about the space felt heavy, with a vulnerability that struck Jack deep. A window revealed a kitchen where a young girl washed dishes, her face stoic and focused. Watching that scene filled him with an inexplicable ache. What had he signed up for? Are you sure you want to do this? Maria asked, seriousness returning to her voice. Jack swallowed hard. It might not be easy, but I need to understand, to feel.
As their gazes shifted to the young girl, heartbeats quickening, Jack realized this intersection of lives could either break him or make him stronger. Let's go inside, he said, stepping forward, determination in every stride. And in that moment, he felt a shift within himself, a small spark igniting. He was ready for the truth, ready to face the stories that would define his journey from here on out. But would the stories transform him, or would he prove to be just another outsider? With that question lingering in the air, they crossed the threshold together, where each dish scrubbed represented more than just dirt. It represented dreams and sacrifices. Jack stepped into the cramped living room, the air thick with the scent of something simmering on the stove. The girl, who couldn't be more than 12, looked up briefly from her task but quickly returned to her dishes, her movements rhythmic and practiced. Her mother's voice floated in from another room, tired yet warm. Let me get that, Mia. You've been working hard all day. Maria gave Jack a slight nudge, urging him to move further inside. Jack's heart raced. This place felt so different, so raw. He wanted to say something, to break the ice, but he was lost for words. Mia, Maria called gently. We have a visitor, someone who wants to help. Mia paused, her round eyes cautious but curious, as if she could smell the wealth on him even before they exchanged words. Jack managed to smile, hoping it would ease the tension. Hi, Mia, I'm Jack, he said, forcing the words out with what he hoped was warmth and sincerity. Maria told me a little about you. Yeah, she murmured, still focused on her task, almost as if assessing his intentions through the suds bubbling in the sink. This is a nice kitchen, he continued, trying to engage her. You're a great help to your mom. She glanced at him, skepticism flaring. You don't know what it's like. That simple statement struck him harder than a punch. He opened his mouth to respond, but Maria stepped in. Mia, Jack is here because he wants to understand. He's trying, just like you. Can you tell him what you want? The young girl hesitated, looking at her mother for guidance. The older woman walked in, wiping her hands on a kitchen towel, weariness etched into her features. She looked between the two of them, noting the way Jack fidgeted, his wealth stark against the contrasting backdrop of their modest home. Sorry for the mess, she said lightly, a smile touching her lips that didn't quite reach her eyes. It's fine. I just want to listen. Listen? Jack scoffed, setting the dish down with a clatter. You think that helps? Maria's gaze flickered with understanding. Mia, Jack is here because he wants to understand. He's trying, just like you. Can you tell him what you want? He could sense the weight of the moment, the enormity of Mia and her mother's troubled past hanging in the air like an unspoken truth. What do you want to know? Mia finally asked, grabbing a dish rag and drying her hands. Anything, Jack urged, leaning forward as if physically straining to connect. Your dreams, your challenges. Why do you help out so much? The young girl looked at him, her defensiveness softening just a little. Because we can't afford for me not to, she admitted, a flicker of vulnerability on her face. Mom works late, and someone has to keep things running. I get it, Jack replied, feeling his own world shift. I want to help. I want to do more than just listen. The mother glanced at him, searching for sincerity in his expression. You have no idea what help means for us. It's more than just money. It's respect, kindness, hope. And just like that, the air turned electric. Jack realized that hope resided in the smallest of exchanges, a shared moment of understanding amidst their struggles. Mia's brow furrowed again, but there was something different in her expression now. You think you can just swoop in and fix things? It's not a fairy tale, you know? No fairy tale, he echoed. But maybe together we can start writing a better story for you and your mom. A spark of something ignited in Maria's eyes. Doubt, concern, or perhaps even a hint of hope. Jack's heart raced as he awaited her reply. But what if she said no? What if this was just another chapter of misunderstanding between their worlds? What if I promised to walk with you? He asked quietly, vulnerability spilling from him. Not to fix everything, but to support you both. Mia glanced at Maria, seeking approval, and for a fleeting moment, the weight of their reality hung in the balance. Silence thickened, tension palpable, and then slowly, a nod from her mother, an unspoken agreement. Just as relief washed over Jack, Mia whispered, Okay, but watch your step. It won't be pretty. And in that discussion, Jack felt the first stirrings of understanding. But the road ahead twisted with uncertainty. What shadows would they encounter as he ventured deeper into their lives? And would he truly have the strength to help? Jack's heart was still racing when Mia stepped back, her youthful face marked with a blend of defiance and hope. The weight of their agreement settled in the air around them, both liberating and heavy with the burden of the future. Let's start with dinner, Maria suggested, breaking the awkward moment. Mia, do you want to set the table? Yes, Mom, Mia replied, moving with a confidence that belied her earlier skepticism. She busied herself with cups and plates, each movement a deliberate distraction. Jack could see the little girl was more than capable, even if it took a toll on her. He glanced at Maria, a question burning in his mind. What about you? Do you ever get a break? Maria chuckled softly, a sound tinged with irony. Not really.
But when you're a single mom, you learn quickly to juggle everything. Days turn into nights, and sleep becomes a luxury. Jack nodded, trying to absorb her words. Each sentence painted a vivid picture of their lives, full of struggle, but also resilience. As they sat around the small table, the steam rising from the pot on the stove mingled with laughter, the air growing warmer with each shared story. Maria spoke of her day job, her struggles with long hours and low pay, while Mia chimed in about school, her friends, and the little victories she had with her studies. Jack listened attentively, carving out space for their voices amidst the chaos of his thoughts. The privileged world he inhabited felt miles away, like a distant echo of laughter, one he couldn't fathom while trapped in their reality. So, what do you think the future holds for you? He finally asked Mia, his curiosity bubbling under the surface. She paused, her brow furrowed. I don't know. Maybe college? If I can get a scholarship or something. That's a great dream, Jack encouraged, his excitement genuine. Yeah, if I can get good enough grades, she added, biting her lip, the light in her eyes dimming just slightly. Jack could sense that familiar heaviness inching back into the room. What if I helped with tutoring, if you ever need extra support? Mia's gaze sharpened, the skepticism returning. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. True, Jack admitted, his voice steady. But I see promise in you. You deserve the chance to chase your dreams. I just want to help, however that looks. Mia studied him, searching for a hint of disingenuousness that wasn't there. Instead, she saw someone who had stepped into her world not with judgment, but with an open heart. So, if I don't get good grades, you'll just leave? She probed and hedged to her voice. No, Jack said firmly. I'll stay, because growing takes time, and not every moment will be perfect. The silence that followed felt tangible, each of them wrestling with what that promise meant moving forward. Would it be enough for them? And was his goodness just a fleeting chapter in their lives? Maria broke the stillness, her soft voice a balm. I think that's a step forward, Mia. Just remember, it's okay to need help. Mia nodded slowly, the conflict in her eyes fading. Dinner went on, filled with laughter and light, but beneath the surface, Jack felt the tides of challenge rising in the days ahead. What hardships awaited, and would the fragile thread of their shared hopes keep them all afloat, or shatter under the strain? As they cleared the table together, Jack's thoughts churned, a mix of excitement and trepidation. The promise of tomorrow loomed large, but so did uncertainty. Would their newfound connection withstand the inevitable storms ahead? Tomorrow, he said softly, more to himself than anyone else. Let's see where it takes us. But Mia, with her perceptive eyes, caught his gaze.
Just remember, Jack, life's not a fairy tale. And in that moment, he realized it was exactly those unvarnished realities that bonded them. What would they discover about each other as they navigated through the messy, imperfect world together? As the plates clinked together, Jack felt a new weight settle on his shoulders. He was becoming part of something real. Something messy, but needed. A sudden burst of laughter pulled him back from the depths of his thoughts, where Mia, with a mischievous grin, had staged an impromptu dishwashing battle with her mother. Not if I get the soap first, Mia squealed, craning to grab the bottle. Maria laughed, dodging her playful swipes, but unable to contain the joy radiating from them both. Jack watched, his heart warming as he considered the vibrant life surrounding him. It was the kind of scene you could bottle up and keep to relish in difficult times, the kind only found in homes built on love, not privilege. When the dishes were finally dried and put away, Mia plopped down on the couch, kicking her feet up and letting out a satisfied sigh. Jack took a seat nearby, shaking his head at the whirlwind of energy the two had just unleashed in the kitchen. What's next, Mia? He asked, genuinely curious. What kind of fun homework do you have to tackle? Math, she groaned, rolling her eyes. I don't get the numbers and they don't get me. Maybe I can help with that too, Jack offered, a hint of playfulness in his voice. She scoffed lightly, but Jack could see the flicker of interest in her eyes. Really? You? A billionaire? No math? I may have a few skills buried under all the money, he said with a wink. I promise I won't let you down. Mia tilted her head, weighing his statement. So, if you help me with math, does that mean I have to help you with, being normal? Deal, Jack said, laughing. You'll be my guide through the real world. Just then, Maria entered the room, her weary smile softening her features as she overheard their banter. Looks like someone's already a pro at being normal, she teased, crossing her arms and looking directly at Jack. He grinned, but there was an undercurrent of uncertainty in him. Just trying to fit in, he joked back. Yet part of him feared that fitting in meant unraveling the carefully crafted persona he had carried for years. Maria saw the flicker of doubt cross his face. It's a different world out there, Jack. Just remember, normal for us might be unlike anything you've experienced. I know, he replied softly. And I want to learn. I want to understand. Her gaze softened, threads of appreciation weaving into the fabric of their exchange. Then you're on the right path. With a laugh and a bit of banter between the three of them, the moments began to stitch together. They shared stories, silly secrets, and dreams for the future. The weight of his past slowly began to lift, replaced by something lighter. But as the clock crept toward midnight, Jack felt a shift in the atmosphere. A sudden vulnerability hung in the air, reminding him of all they hadn't touched yet. What do you want most, Mia? He asked, his voice instinctively low and cautious, meeting her gaze sincerely. After a moment's pause, her expression changed, vulnerability flickering beneath her usual bravado. I just want to be able to breathe freely, you know? No worries, just dreams. Jack's heart ached at her honesty, that longing so deeply etched in her youth. Could he help her catch that freedom? Then let's work on that together, he said, his own resolve solidifying.
whatever it takes. As Mia's smile returned, Jack caught a glimpse of the future he hoped to help cultivate, a world built on shared dreams and honesty. But an unsettling question lingered in the back of his mind. Would he be able to give them both what they needed, even when the shadows of obstacles began to loom large again? Little did they know, the next day would test every promise as they faced unexpected challenges that could change everything. Would it draw them closer or drive them apart? The sun peeked through the curtains, casting a gentle glow in the room. Jack woke up feeling a strange mix of excitement and anxiety. Today was the day he had pledged to help Mia with her math. It seemed so simple on the surface, yet he sensed it held deeper meaning. It was a step toward building trust, toward entering Mia's world more fully. As he made his way to the kitchen, the smell of fresh coffee wafted through the air. Maria stood at the counter preparing breakfast. "Morning, Jack. You're up early," she said, her warm smile brightening the space. "Couldn't sleep," he replied, scratching the back of his head. "Thought I might get a head start on my teacher duties." Maria laughed lightly. "Just remember, patience is key with math. It's like a puzzle, and Mia's not a fan of those." "I've tackled bigger challenges," he joked, but inside a knot of doubt tightened. What if he couldn't help her at all? Mia wandered in, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "What's happening? Are there pancakes involved?" "Only if you ace your math. Deal?" Jack grinned, loving the way her eyes sparkled with a hint of mischief. "Deal, but first breakfast." They ate together, the atmosphere relaxed and jovial. Laughter filled the kitchen, and for a moment, Jack felt like this was home. But in the back of his mind, he knew challenges lay ahead. After their meal, they moved to the living room, scattered math books and papers ready on the table. As Mia settled next to him, the mood shifted slightly. "Okay, let's start with your homework," he said, opening a book and trying to recall his own high school days. "What do you find most confusing?" Mia scrunched her nose, flipping through her books. "Everything, but mostly the fractions. Why do they even exist?" Jack chuckled, then leaned in. "Fraction wars are tricky."
But let's break them down. As he explained, he noticed her posture relax, and she started to engage. Slowly, they began solving problems together, their laughter mixing with the sounds of turning pages. Time slipped away, each successful answer bringing Mia a little more confidence. "See? You're a math champion," Jack exclaimed, high-fiving her. She beamed, her previous frustration melting away. "I can't believe I survived that," she said dramatically, flopping back on the couch with a mock sigh of relief. "You really know your stuff." "Thanks to my fancy private school," Jack replied, trying to keep the tone light. But he wondered how much of that world Mia could ever understand. Her eyes twinkled. Maybe being normal isn't so bad after all. The words hung between them, and he felt both hope and fear surge within him. Just then, the front door creaked open. They turned to see a figure in the doorway. Jared, the neighbor's son, who was Mia's friend. "Hey, Mia, want to play soccer?" She glanced at Jack, hesitation creeping into her expression. "I don't know. I have math." "Don't worry about that. You've already done so much," Jared encouraged. Jack felt a sharp pang of doubt. Was he holding her back from normalcy? Mia bit her lip, torn between the exhilaration of play and the homework victory they had just shared. "Maybe just a quick game?" "Go ahead," Jack urged, trying to sound enthusiastic, even as uncertainty twisted in his stomach. As Mia raced out the door, her laughter echoing behind her, Jack settled back, feeling the weight of the emptiness left inside. Had he come here to teach her, or to hold her back? As the afternoon unfolded, he wondered what it meant to be a part of Mia's world. Would he still fit in once he revealed more about himself? The clock ticked slowly, each moment hanging heavy. And then, as if the universe was answering his question, Maria walked in, an unexpected frown furrowing her brow. "Jack, can we talk?" He knew this conversation might shift everything. Would he be ready to face what lay ahead? Jack turned to Maria, trying to unnerve the nervous knot in his stomach. "Sure, what's up?" The kitchen felt too quiet, like the calm before a storm. He watched as she took a seat at the table, her hands clasped together, her eyes searching his face for signs of understanding. "Listen, Jack," she began, her voice low. "I've been watching you with Mia. The way you two connect, it's special." "Yeah, I really like hanging out with her." He hoped his casual answer would ease the tension. Maria shook her head slightly, a small smile breaking through. "It's more than that, honey. I can see it in her face. You're making a difference in her life, and it's been a long time since someone has really done that."
Jack felt warmth spread through him. That was what he had wanted, to be a part of Mia's world. But, Maria continued, her smile faltering, I need to ask you something. Are you sure you're ready for this?
What do you mean? He asked, a hint of confusion in his voice. Being close with her means being close with us, with me. And you have your own life, Jack. You're passionate and driven, and this, she gestured around the modest home, this is a different reality. The gravity of her words struck him. He wanted to be part of their lives, but did he know how? The easy laughs over math problems felt light compared to the burden of their realities. I'm in it for the long haul, he found himself saying, surprising even himself with the conviction in his voice. But I don't want to hurt her. I don't want to take the things she loves away. Maria studied him, like she was weighing his sincerity. Just be honest, with her and with yourself. Kids can sense when you're hiding something. Trust me. He nodded, knowing she was right. How could he build trust if he wasn't being himself? But what if his past was too complicated to share? His thoughts swirled as Maria continued. And if this goes deeper for you, remember, it's not just about math lessons. Mia's had her fair share of disappointments. I don't want anything to break the trust you've both started to build. The door swung open again, and Mia burst in, her cheeks flushed from the excitement of her game, but all too soon the glow faded when she saw the serious expressions on their faces. What's going on? Just an adult chat, Maria said lightly, a hint of reassurance in her tone. Can I join? Mia asked, perching herself on the edge of her seat, eyes wide and eager. This wasn't the time for a heavier conversation. Jack knew that. Not now when everything was just getting started. But the truth was there, lurking underneath the surface of their interactions. He needed some clarity. Everyone did. Let's celebrate your math victory first, Jack suggested, a hopeful smile creeping back. Who's in the mood for a pizza party? Mia's face lit up. I want pepperoni. Deal. But you help me order, okay? Let's see if my math skills can keep up with yours, he said as they shared a laugh. As they planned the meal, Jack felt a moment of hope wash over him. Despite the heaviness of Maria's words, maybe it was possible to create a balance between his life and theirs. It would take work and honesty, but something about Mia's bright smile reminded him that it could be worth it. Just as they settled on toppings, Jack's phone buzzed, pulling his attention. It was a text from a familiar number, a reminder of the life he had stepped away from. It read, "We need to talk, soon." His heart raced. Would talking be as easy as it had been with Mia? Or would it tear the fragile threads of connection he had begun to weave in this little household? The cheerful atmosphere dimmed slightly, but he pushed down the anxiety. He needed to focus on Mia. He wanted to be her math mentor, her friend, her guide. But could he also show her the truth about him? As laughter echoed off the walls, Jack wrestled with the shadows of his past and the anxiety of the future. How would he face whatever came next? As the laughter from the pizza party filled the kitchen, Jack's mind tried to compartmentalize the whirlwind of emotions battling within him. Mia's joy was infectious, and it was hard not to smile back at her when she animatedly discussed which toppings would pair best with the pepperoni. Maybe mushrooms? She suggested, scrunching her nose in thought. Maria joined in the fun, throwing in her own suggestions and making Mia giggle with anecdotes from her childhood pizza nights. Jack took a moment to just absorb it all. The smell of fresh basil and melted cheese filled the air, a stark contrast to the heaviness he felt every time he looked at his phone. But deep inside, the weight of that text throbbed like a dull ache. We need to talk. Soon. The words lingered, haunting him like a shadow. He wanted to ignore it, to push it out of his mind, yet it loomed larger as Mia's laughter rang out. "Jack, are you listening?" Mia's voice broke through his thoughts. Her eyes sparkled, expectant, as she tried to regain his attention. "Which do you think is better, extra cheese or spicy sausage?" He blinked, shaking off the weighty thoughts. "Extra cheese, definitely." "Chef Jack has spoken!" Mia cheered, pumping her little fist in the air, her enthusiasm instantly lifting the mood back to its vibrant pitch. As they continued to plan the evening, Jack felt a renewed sense of commitment to this family. The troubles of his past seemed to shift momentarily to the background, but the notification on his phone kept pulling him back. It was as if a rope was tugging him away from where he wanted to be, right here, right now, surrounded by laughter and love. After finishing the order, Jack leaned back in his chair,
trying to breathe through the anxiety that began to rise again. Uncertainty nipped at him like a chill breeze. He adored Mia and wanted nothing more than to be an influential presence in her life. But what if his past was too much of a storm to weather together? Much to his relief, Maria caught Jack's apprehension in a glance. She stood up, gently ruffled Mia's hair, and said, "How about we put on a movie while we wait for the pizza? Something funny. Gotta keep this guy smiling." "Yes! Can we watch that one with the talking animals?" Mia asked, bouncing in her seat. "Absolutely," Maria agreed, and for a moment Jack felt the tension ease as the two of them quickly turned the room back into a hub of light-hearted excitement. But as the movie played, everything that Jack had pushed aside clawed at him. He wished he could just tell Mia everything, let her in on the complexities of his life. If she sensed any hesitation, it would be harder to build their bond. He glanced at Maria, who caught his eye again, and I could see she was aware.
The lines around her mouth softened, as if she understood his struggles without having to voice them. Sinking into the couch, the bright lights from the TV flickering on his face, Jack closed his eyes briefly. He had to face that text. He had to confront what it meant for him to live a life intertwined with Mia's. No longer just a mentor, but something more. Suddenly, the phone buzzed again. Another text. He hesitated, feeling a wave of dread. It was already late. He couldn't keep ignoring this, not after everything Maria had shared with him. Not while building the kind of trust Mia so desperately needed. "Jack, are you okay?" Mia's voice pierced through his thoughts again, her innocent concern breaking the silence. The sincerity in her eyes ignited a spark of realization within him. If he wanted to be real, if he wanted this to work, he couldn't continue living behind a wall. It was time to figure it all out, time to confront the past so he could embrace this future. Just as he opened his mouth to respond, Jack's phone buzzed yet again, this time with a call. He grimaced slightly, knowing that whatever awaited him on the other end could change everything. Would he answer the call and risk shattering the peace he had found here? Or would he let it go and step fully into the light before him? The room felt charged, anticipation swirling in the air. In that moment, everything hung in the balance.
"We need to talk about the board meeting next week." His heart thudded. The corporate world he had been attempting to escape pressed in like a vice. "I can't right now. I'm involved in something important." "Important?" Helen's tone let loose a wave of disdain. "You've lost focus. This is not the time to be distracted by." The word distraction hung in the air like a sour note. Jack took a deep breath, grounding himself in the resolve he had found with Maria and Mia. "No, Helen, I'm not distracted. I'm reevaluating everything. This life, it's not fulfilling, and I can't keep ignoring that." Her silence had a weight, but he carried on. "I'm working on something real here, something that matters outside the boardroom. Don't make decisions based on fleeting sentiments, Jack. You're promising a scholarship? You think that's enough to fix everything?" She scoffed. His patience began to fray, with her, with himself. "It's not just about money, Helen. It's about trust, building relationships, and understanding. This isn't a project. This is people's lives. Families are counting on more than handouts. Think carefully before you throw away your future," she warned. He hung up. The weight of her words hit him hard, yet he refused to buckle. Walking back into the warmth of the home, he felt liberated by the confrontation, the shadows of his corporate life edged out by the brighter reality he had found here. Inside, Mia and Maria had set up a makeshift pizza feast, the table laden with boxes as laughter echoed around them. Jack's heart swelled anew as he embraced the warmth enveloping him. "Everything okay?" Maria asked, a hint of concern in her voice. "Yeah," he nodded, forcing a smile and hoping it reached his eyes. "I just let go of some old baggage." "Good," Maria replied, her eyes sparkling with understanding. "It's important to set those things down, Jack, especially when you found something worth holding on to." The unspoken tension between them shifted. It felt as if they both recognized the journey ahead, not just the struggles, but the promise wrapped in each moment spent together. Mia jumped up, breaking the peace. "Absolutely," Jack chimed, and as they dug into the dinner, laughter buoyed them, wove them closer together. They shared silly stories, and as Mia animatedly recounted a ridiculous soccer moment, his heart swelled with joy. "Jack, are you joining us for the community event this weekend?" Maria's voice reached him amid the laughter. "Yes, I want to be there," he answered, excitement bubbling at the thought. "I want to learn, support, and maybe bring some ideas to help lift up families in the community." Mia's eyes sparkled, but he could see the flicker of vulnerability. "Even if things get tough?" Jack nodded earnestly. "Even then, we'll tackle it together, one step at a time. I'm not going anywhere." With those words, he felt an unyielding strength solidified between them. The trust he had hoped to build wasn't just a promise, but a binding thread that connected their lives, rebuilding the foundation that came from understanding each other's truths. As they lifted their slices, laughter and a newfound warmth surrounded Jack. It was everything he had missed in the bustling world of wealth and ambition, a sense of belonging that transcended the superficial. With each moment of joy, the threads of their lives began to weave tighter, crafting an unbreakable bond filled with hope. Jack felt ready to face whatever challenges awaited them, driven to nurture the dreams of others until they flourished brightly. And as he watched Mia smile, bright as sunlight streaming through the clouds, he knew he had found his purpose. Not in the cold corners of a boardroom, but in the warmth of these honest moments, bonded by shared challenges and dreams yet to be fulfilled. It was time to embrace the beauty of their story and become part of its unfolding transformation. Together, and just like that, with determination lighting his spirit, they made a promise to walk alongside in trust, laughter, and resilience, ready to tackle whatever came next. Now, if you felt that emotional wave too, it's time to take action. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep this journey alive. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, and share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of these actions.